Hi, this is Stan. Welcome back to the Crow's Nest Railroad. Well, we're up at Sahuaro today. We've got to lay some track. Not 5-inch gauge, 15-inch gauge track. And the weatherman says it should only be about 113 degrees today. So that's perfect weather for working outside. Join us. Stay tuned. Well, we're going to pick up where we left off last time. That's Bob. You know Bob by now. Also, we've got Gary and Craig. Craig was driving the tractor last time, and Gary's kind of the head of our whole project here at the museum. Bob is kind of technical director. And so what we have to do now, remember last time we got these ties laid down there, big 4x4 ties. We've got to lay some rail on there, and we're going to bend some rail today. That should be a lot of fun, and it's going to be heavy-duty bending. And just so you can see the comparison, on the left there is the large steel rail that we're putting in and bending for the Sahuaro Central Railroad, the 15-inch gauge. And then right next to it, you can see the tiny aluminum rail that I'm using at my home on the Crow's Nest Railroad. What a difference. One of Bob's projects this week was taking a tool that we can bend this heavy-duty rail on. It was a manual tool. It had a screw in there. So Bob, describe what you did to take it from a manual bender to a hydraulic bender.
Sure, Stan. So what happened is, in the center of this is an Acme screw thread. That's a square thread format for power transmission. So you had a big coarse thread here with a head on it for putting pry bars in. You rotated it quarter turn each time, and the screw advanced with the rail in the center here, and that screw advanced pushing in here and curving the rail. Well, that's a tremendous amount of work, and we have 200 feet of rail to bend. So the suggestion I thought of was, let's make an attachment that would replace that screw with an Enerpack 2-inch hydraulic cylinder. So that goes right in like this, and then it drops over the rail when we get it into position, and we make the initial bend. Now, this bend is at one point. Then we move about 24 inches, 18 inches, we'll see how that works, down to the next one. And then we make a slight bend there. And then we go to the next 24-inch section, make a slight bend there. So in essence, we're kinking the rail. We don't want to kink it, but we want to force it to a gentle curve through a series of small pushes. And that'll give us, on a 20-foot piece of rail, that will give us the 80-foot curve we're looking for. We'll take the chord, we'll measure the offset on a string line between the chord dimension and the center of that rail, and that will give us the curve we need to finally pit it for the rails. And we'll pre-drill the ties so we don't split the ties with our anchoring lag bolts. And those lag bolts also have a tapered wedge that holds the rail in place. It's not just the lag bolt, it is this cast iron tapered piece that has a hole through it that the lag bolt goes through, and that keeps the rail from shifting left or right. There's a screw on each side of the rail, obviously.
That's awesome. Well, we get some footage of the action today. We're thinking roughly maybe 4 inches in a 20-foot stick, the bend.
That's what the calculations suggest. We'll test it out here and see if we get close to where we want to be. We may have to field adjust that reality based on the nature of the rail and where we're pressing on it.
Well, Bob, awesome job on that bender, man. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, I even painted the darn thing for you.
Well, we are underway. We're starting to set these ties. They're 4x4. And we're leveling side to side and from one tie to the next, and we're roughing in the radius necessary. So Bob and I and Craig and Gary will be on our hands and knees most of the morning here, trying to set these right now one at a time. Leveling from one tie to the next, and leveling across one tie each.
good.
All right. Craig is cleaning up the area with the tractor just to kind of consolidate some of those piles.
Well, that'll help when we swing that arc. You can't let it get up.
And you can see we're making some progress, getting these ties roughly positioned. Then we'll be able to add some rail, make some panels, and do some fine adjustments from there. I cut a couple of 2x2s that we can use as spacers so we don't have to measure each tie. All right, well, we got about 30 feet or so of those ties just roughed in for elevation and spacing. And so now we've got to back up for a little bit and connect to the existing rail. So we're trying to take some of the bend out of this one piece of steel rail here. You can see the bender, the hydraulic bender in action there. So it was a little bit too curved for what we need. Well, we got it roughly bent, and now we're going to anchor the rail by bolting the flange down to that 4x4 tie.
Yeah, just a little bit. Good. Okay.
These lag bolts are pretty big, so we're going to pre-drill the hole so we don't split the ties. And here you can see the size.
Okay.
It's a little cap in the lag screw.
Five and a half, that's very close.
That's good. Because it was 6 out here.
Okay, let's bend a little more.
So we'll show you a little bit of action with the bender.
Yeah, come back to me more.
More?
Yeah, let's try.
Right here?
Yeah, I'll take a piece there. Okay, okay. Okay.
All right, let's come this way.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see what we got.
We'll lose fluid. I've got fluid.
Okay, we got to go back between those.
Here?
A little more, right there, right about there.
So you see how they overbend it and then it springs back a little bit.
What's that measure to about where the bender is?
I make it 5.
5.5.
5 and a half.
That's good.
I pull it tight. All right.
All right, you can sight down the rail here. And that was a curved piece of steel, so we're trying to take some of the curve out of it. You can sight it down. See what we're trying to do here. Whew. Alrighty, we're gonna have to wrap it up for today. That sun is beating down and we've got all that we can stand of the heat for today. I'm sitting on an actual railroad bench. It's
laying on its back right now. But the guys brought this back from Nevada. Hopefully we can get this restored, and it'll be a great passenger seating bench. And I think there's another one up in Nevada they're also going to bring down, so we'll have 2 of these really cool benches. So I want to thank you so much for watching this week. Just an update as to what we're doing and more track work ahead. And well, for me right now, it's siesta time.
Thank you.